Is Vanelle a little slow? How do they perceive these people's ages? Maybe they're just in denial about it because they have to live this and experience it. But in no world was Jorge in his 40s. I'm sorry. So I am back to talk another episode of Age of Attraction, episode 2 of the season. This show is cracking me up on one hand, but on the other, it does make me feel a little uncomfortable at times. I really do consider myself someone that is more open-minded to this concept than others in age gaps and dating and all of that. So I am surprised that I am having some of the reactions that I am having, but it is harder to watch an older guy pursue a younger woman than the opposite for some reason. Maybe it's because I am a guy and I know how we are, and I know that there is usually, not usually, but a lot of times there could be other reasons we are trying to woo someone. It isn't for anything serious. So that's when I start to become concerned. We had 2 different age reveals in this episode. I want to start with Vanelle because she has been irking me for these first 2 episodes. And I don't know if either of her options were necessarily right for her, but watching the edit, watching the interactions, I am still very confused how she felt she had a stronger connection with Jorge rather than Justin. I feel like with Justin, they were actually connecting on a deeper level, where with Jorge, I guess she's just going based on how Jorge makes her feel, which is, it's fair. I mean, I've done that. It's a younger person thing, perhaps. I guess you do have to feel a certain way, and if she was with Justin and was thinking about Jorge, it was never gonna work between the two of them. However, I also think that it could just be because he was white. You know, a lot of times on these dating shows, it's easy to blame the white guy when something interracial isn't working out. But in recent years on these dating shows, the black women feel weird about pursuing the white guy. It happens more times than people want to talk about. And I do feel like it was happening again here. And I do think it was another factor in Vanelle deciding to go with Jorge rather than Justin. I don't know how genuine Justin was, but he came out very damn genuine to me. I would watch a dating show for Justin. I want Justin to find some love in his life again, since it didn't work out with his first marriage. But I guess it's not going to work out for him on this show either. As for Vanelle with Jorge, are these people slow? Is Vanelle a little slow? How do they perceive these people's ages? Maybe they're just in denial about it because they have to live this and experience it. But in no world was Jorge in his 40s. I'm sorry. I know black don't crack and all, but Jorge he looked like he was pushing 60 the whole time. So I was not surprised to find out he was in fact 60. Vanelle is younger than I thought she was. Vanelle looks a little older than she gives off. I thought she was in her early 30s at the youngest, but she's only 27. So we have 27-year-old Vanelle with 60-year-old Jorge. That was our cliffhanger to this episode. And I just see disaster in the future for these two. I feel like he is avoiding questions about his kids and didn't tell her about his kids like other couples have done. They've told the other person that they have kids, and some of them told them the ages so that the younger woman or man could get a better thought process on how old the other person might be. Jorge was avoiding that. And even before they revealed their ages, she asked, I don't know if you have kids or if you want kids. And then he said, oh, so you're asking if I want kids. Totally avoiding the if he has kids question. He might have grandkids at his old age. I don't know. So yeah, it's going to be a disaster, but Vanelle kind of brought this on herself. She did talk about in the first episode that maybe it's more so opposites attract, and they are more opposites, whereas her and Justin were more similar. And It's true. Opposites do attract. I find that in my own life very often. Even though in the past I have wanted someone more, low key, go with the flow like me. I've been attracted to people like that, but they're usually not attracted back to me. Whereas a more bigger personality is usually more attracted to me, and vice versa. And so it just works out better. Maybe that's what happened with these two. Or maybe Vanelle has daddy issues. She's always talking about how her dad doesn't want her to marry someone more than 10 years older than her. But it might be because of her dad that she's so attracted to these grandpas. And she kept saying, oh, Jorge's such a man. He's a man. Even brought out the love word at some time. He's a man, all right. An old man, but nothing wrong with that he's so old. It is it's a bit too much of an age gap for me. 60 and 27, man, woman. I did feel different about Teresa and John though, so I am trying to be more open-minded to this. But it's not just the ages, it is watching this play out. You can form your own opinions. You can see the connection. And this connection with Vanelle and Jorge seems off to me. Now, another connection that seemed off in the first episode, I was calling him David, I think, but his real name is Andrew. Andrew and Libby are another couple. They were another couple I was feeling a little skeeved out by with Andrew, like he was just trying to woo her for nothing serious, for a good time. I tried to change my mind in this episode, but it's another question of, did Andrew really not see that Libby was quite young? He couldn't see that she was in her early 20s. It's another one that I guessed right. So far, Vanelle's the only one that I kind of misguessed. I thought Vanelle was older than she actually is. Libby clearly seemed like she was in her early 20s, maybe mid-20s at best. And Andrew acting shocked when he found that out. I don't know if I bought it. But what I did like with Andrew in this episode compared to the first episode was that he was the one asking the serious questions, telling her how old his daughters were, which was 14 and 12, which should have gave her a better idea that he was at least pushing 40, even though she still acted so shocked when she learned he was 38. 38 and 22, it's probably not a viable age gap. It's a little more easier for me to swallow, I guess. It would be nice, I think, if she was a little bit older. I think he is in denial about how serious she might be about this relationship. He tried to bring out a more serious side from her, which is what I did like from him in this episode, because he was having a good time with her. She's a fun time, but can she actually be more serious about things? And he says he brought that out of her, but I don't know if I saw that for myself. I don't know how the rest of you feel about this coupling, but it's another kind of harder couple to swallow. Although I feel a little differently than I felt in the first episode, I more so feel like Libby is the one here that is kind of going to be the disaster in this relationship because she is so young. And he was even saying himself that at 22, he was not ready to be fully committed to someone. But now they're in it together, so he's going to go with it. And I get that he has to go with it now. And I think he'll be happy to go with it for now. But I think realistically, it's not realistic that this works out. And I think deep down, he knows that. We got a little bit of Pfeifer and Derrrick in this episode. It's another person who I think is clearly older than she might think. I don't know how young Pfeifer is, but she's another person that looks quite young. Derrrick has a gray body, but he has an old face. And I think he is in his older 40s, unless he has Vanelle syndrome and actually looks older than he actually is. But I like their connection. He's another one with kids, one of which is 15 years old, but he hasn't told her he has kids yet. She, meanwhile, is thinking he is 13 to 16 years older than her. She looks like mid-20s. He looks at best mid-40s. So I think she's at least a little off with that connection. I do like this connection a little more than the other two I just talked about, but that could always change. We had Wes and Jolene. It's another connection that I have a hard time seeing working out. In this respect, Jolene is the older woman, Wes being younger. Wes was saying he looks good and is actually older than she probably thinks he is. But I don't know if that's true. If he's that much over 30, I would be surprised. Jolene, meanwhile, is probably pushing 50. I think that she's already not liking some of his immature things. She talked about not liking his backflips into the pool. She's really, really wanting to know his age, and he's saying they could go to the promise room right now. He'd be ready for it. He is very confident about this relationship, but I feel like if anyone is doing a lot of love bombing in this episode, it was him. He's saying he's super flirty, but everything he says is genuine. I don't know if that is completely true. I would like to think it's true, but I'm shaky on that connection as well. And then the only other thing we had was Chris and Vanessa were dating. Vanessa thought Chris was love bombing her and things were moving too fast, so she moved on from that, went on a date with Logan. Chris, meanwhile, is connecting with the older Leah. He likes her eyes and her smile, but we didn't get enough airtime for them for me to be invested in that yet. And then at the beginning of episode 2, John and Teresa are going to go for it. John is 27, Teresa is 54. It's another pretty damn big age gap. So, as I said in the first episode, I do buy this connection though. So I'm trying to gather within myself. Am I not being open-minded enough? Do I feel a different way about older men with a younger woman than older women with a younger man? Even though I've dated younger, but certainly no huge age gaps like this. But I do think there's a difference. You can see it kind of playing out on screen. Whereas Jorge is keeping information from Vanelle, and their connection still seems more surface level than actually deep. And I think maybe she just doesn't see that because she is still young in her 20s. John and Teresa seem to really be trying. John is dating the right way. That's what I like about this relationship so far from what we've seen. I think they're going to have some troubles. I've seen previews, but like John has been pursuing this in a logical way, but also a mature way. And I think maybe that's why I like that connection a little more. But I'm enjoying the show so far. Looking forward to episode 3. I'll be doing these reviews one episode at a time.